Hey everyone, welcome to the Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It is Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. We have a 10 game MLB slate to talk about here on today's podcast. I'm back. My voice is good. Long 3 weeks. I know I've been very hit or miss in June. I'm sorry. I love the show. I really do. Between nationals and helping some teams at a different wave of nationals for coaching, um, working on getting a coaching high school job, just super busy, and plus getting sick, and then my son got sick, and it was a long month, but I'm excited to be back, and I think July I'll be a lot more consistent. And MLB All Star breaks right around the corner, so just kind of excited overall for the month of July. It's going to be a lot of fun, and definitely pumped to get back on here, get back on the grind of like MLB betting, playing DFS. All of that stuff has been on the wayside for me. I haven't been doing a lot of it. If you're part of the Patreon, you already know this. I haven't been betting MLB. I put up all my MLB bets daily on my Patreon page. That helps support the podcast. So, yeah, just overall super busy in June. July is a lot more chill. So, I'm going to miss a couple days in July, middle of the month, but don't have to worry about that right now. I should be good to go this week. Derek, what's happening, man? How was that race Saturday night? Like, it was awesome. It was really cool. I think that we're seeing Atlanta kind of evolve with the tire wear and this like new, I mean, it's not a super speedway, but a drafting track, I guess is what we'll call it. Tire wear is playing a huge factor. And all the cars that kind of got knocked out and only having like X amount of like really good cars at the end made it exciting too. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it was one of the better races this year. It was really fun to watch as a fan. Brent, what's up? I've been stalking the morning grind like it's nobody's business. Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, again, I love doing the show. That is one of the reasons that I kept it going. So love doing the show. I do want to give a shout out, really quick. The other day when I did the podcast last week before my voice just kind of died, Jim said he took down a tournament on FanDuel and hooked it up over there on Venmo. So just want to give Jim a shout out. Congrats on taking down the tournament. It's really cool. So yeah, welcome back. Been listening for 3 years. First time catching it live. All right. Well, if you like my voice, then you'll like my facial reactions to some of these matchups. So, all right. All that to say, let's talk some baseball. It's been way too long. Let's talk some baseball. 10 games, a lot to talk about. We get started. And again, I know I don't say this all the time, but if you've been listening for a long time, I break down matchups. I do not worry about weather the night before. The reason I say that is because the first game is Tampa. I live in Florida. The forecast this week is awful. It's going to rain every single day. Like, every single day this week is like 70+% chance of rain. So just wanted to go ahead and say, like, there's every day there's probably chances of rain. So check the weather report throughout the day. I'm breaking down matchups. I am not looking at weather. Get started at Athletics, Tampa Rays. 8.5 total. Tampa, a 172 favorite. Baz and Springs facing off against each other in this one. We'll go to Springs here first. Always going to that visiting side first. So, looking at this matchup for Springs, he's a below average strikeout pitcher, but consistent around 19%. He's giving up more fly balls this year than in years past, and a little bit more line drives. The ground ball rate has dropped down about 6 to 7% from years past, and like that's kind of generated more line drives and fly balls by nature. So realistically, like he doesn't generate a ton of whiffs. He's hittable. I don't love this matchup for him. I do like left-handed pitching against Tampa. I talk about this a lot. I think the pitching on the slate is very shaky at best. From my initial research, maybe I'll like something more as I break down the games here on the show. But my initial research was like, for this pitching slate. So I don't love Springs. I don't hate the price. I don't hate the matchup. As far as like matchup wise, it's not the worst matchup in the world. Tampa. Baz on the other side. I mean, the Athletics, Langoliers is back, which is good. They need the Langoliers back. Kurtz is doing exactly what we kind of hoped he would do. He's crushing the ball. Baz has been like semi-reverse splits this year. He has a much higher strikeout rate against left-handed pitching or hitting than he does against right-handed pitching. Good ground ball guy. Still giving up a ton of hard contact. So I don't think like he's necessarily the worst option here. I think like realistically, you could potentially get like 6 good innings from him. It's just whether or not like he has the upside. He's not my favorite play. I think that there's better options. I'm just kind of saying like I do think like he's not terrible. Bats against him though. I like right-handed power against Baz. So I like Roker. I like Langoliers. I don't mind like a Jacob Wilson. He just continues to have a really strong year. If you're throwing in like a 2 or 3 man of the Athletics, you could always look to Kurtz. I know that Baz is better against lefties, but Kurtz is just he's crushing right-handed pitching. He came back from getting hurt and just keeps doing it. And they really haven't like increased his price, even though he keeps hitting home runs. So I don't mind Kurtz in this lineup as well. Rooker and Bangaliers probably my favorite, but I don't hate that little 3-man adding like Kurtz in there, or going like a Wilson or something. If you don't want to pay up for like Rooker, because Langoliers is still really moderately priced catcher, just getting back from the IO. Attacking Springs on the other side, you want right-handed power against him. That's kind of where he gives up the fly balls, where he gives up the power. So that's where it gets really interesting because, again, like they don't have a lot of right-handed power in this lineup. I think Caminero is someone you could potentially play. I hate playing Diaz, even though like he's probably the best against left-handed pitching in this lineup. He's first base. He's kind of priced up. He'll have those games where he has like big games, but like I hate playing this guy. He's not a guy that I would like peg for like 2 home run upside on most given slates. Caballero, I think you could take some shots on. Jansen at catcher, in play here, pretty cheap at 3,300. Overall, though, it's not my favorite team, but I like the matchup against Springs, and I like the ballpark. I mean, if it's not raining, it's going to be hot. So good hitting conditions in a minor league baseball field or ballpark. So don't mind looking at either one of these teams. I could see like a 4-4 type of stack or a 3-3 type of stack with 2 one-offs or 2-man stack somewhere else. But I think you could potentially play some bats from this one. Red Sox 10 total in this game. It's a pick'em game. We got Fitz and Singer facing off against each other. The Red Sox were crushing the ball. My boy Abreu had a couple home runs on Monday night. Going to Singer first. I mean, Brady Singer, another below average strikeout pitcher that doesn't generate enough ground balls to really make him worth it. So don't really have any interest in Singer at his 8K price tag. I think the price tag is just a lot in general. And then Richard Fitz, we don't have a huge sample size on him yet this year. They've extended him again back into this like starter role, but like realistically, this guy's been giving up a ton of home runs. He has a very low K rate, really struggles with right-handed power, which might kind of not benefit him in this matchup. The Reds have some right-handed power in this lineup, so I think I'm out on these 2 pitchers too. I do like some pitchers on the slate, I promise. There's some pitchers that I like as we get going here. But I like the bats here. I like McLean. I like De La Cruz. I like Hayes, Spencer Steer, Stevenson. If Reese is in there, I like him at 3,300 hens. I like I like right-handed power against Fitz 344 ISO against righties. He's done a really good job of limiting power against lefties in a very small sample size. So I looking at these right-handed power bats for Cincy, very much in play as a full stack here. And I think the Red Sox are in play as a full stack. Duran, Anthony, Abreu going right back to him. Mayer, I like him. With the trade of Devers, we're going to get these younger hitters in the lineup daily for the Red Sox. And Mayer's like 2.9K. I like him a lot. This guy is super talented. He'll start hitting, no doubt about it. Anthony, 3.9K. I like his price. We've already seen that he's going to start hitting multiple hits in 3 straight games for him, which is really good to see. So I like going to the Red Sox stack here. It's not as sexy as it was with Devers in the lineup. I'm a Red Sox fan. I like the trade. I don't think any player is above a team. I mean, I preach that as a coach, so I have to kind of like it when my team that I root for does it as well. Because at the end of the day, you have to put team first in team sports. So if you're not doing that, good for the Red Sox. Devers is a generational type of talent. But yeah, I mean, team sport. All right, moving on. Brewers, Mets, 8 total. We got Holmes and Peralta, 132 favorite for the Mets in this one. Now we're getting somewhere as far as pitching. Freddie Peralta has just kind of had one of these weird years where you really just expect a lot more from him. I mean, we all do, right? His strikeout rate has dropped. He's missing more bats, or missing less bats. Sorry, I said that backwards. Giving up more barrels, everything you don't want to see Peralta's doing. But he's not getting blown up. It's very awkward because he's still getting the strikeouts, but he really isn't dominating offenses. Well, the problem with this matchup, it's kind of the same thing we talked about with the Mets all year. The bottom half, there's some strikeouts for sure, but the top half is a very low strikeout, high contact, high walk rate team, which is everything you don't want a pitcher facing. So I'll play Peralta in matchups. I liked him a lot last time out against Pittsburgh, I think. But I don't necessarily like this matchup. I like the ballpark going into Citi Field, potentially limiting, but the top half of this lineup is just so good. Lindor, Soto, Alonso. Nimmo has been really good this year against right-handed pitching. So not my favorite spot for Peralta. I think if you're playing 150, he's definitely in your player pool. Clay Holmes on the other side of this game just continues to be kind of an elite ground ball pitcher. 53.5%. The walks have been the biggest issue for Clay Holmes. He'll have these games where, he goes out and walks 4, 5, 6 hitters, 10 walks over his last 2 starts. That's really, the command has been a huge thing. The thing about that is he faces Atlanta in back-to-back starts, and he walked 10 hitters in those 2 starts. So he gets a little bit better matchup here. So the power for the Brewers kind of mediocre this season. And ground ball hitter Yelich, who has the highest power numbers for this team against a ground ball pitcher, definitely benefits Clay Holmes. So this is one of the pitchers that I do like on this slate. I think the price is fair at this mid-tier, $8,500 range. I'm not necessarily too concerned about the power, and I think that he could limit the damage here. If he could control the walks, if he can go out and he can have a 1 or 2 walk game here, I think this is a game he can go for 20 plus. I think it'd be a really fair game for him. So I don't mind Clay Holmes. His pitch count's where we want it. It's just the walks. The walks are the biggest thing for him. Pitching in this ballpark helps a ton. As far as the bats, I like Yelich against fly ball hitters or pitchers. I talk about this all the time. Contreras as well. Contreras is a big ground ball hitter. So I really target those guys against fly ball pitchers. The one guy that like I don't hate taking some tournament shots on here is Hoskins. He is a pretty decent fly ball guy, really hard contact rate, or really really high hard contact rate. Say that fast 3 times. So I don't mind that. Not a ton of interest. And then on the Mets side, I mean, you could potentially take shots on like Lindor, Nimmo, Soto, Alonso, McNeil. I think there's better spots today. Like a lot of hitters from those first 2 games, more than the hitters in this game for me. So that's just kind of where I'm at on this one. I think it's a game that you would need to be playing quite a few teams to really get a lot of exposure to this one. Personally, I mean, that's personally how I feel anyway. All right, moving on. We got the Angels at the Braves. A 9.5 total in this one. The Braves a 164 favor. We got Anderson against Fuentes. Probably saying that wrong. Fuentes? Maybe I'm saying it right. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, Fuentes? I know you guys are going to tell me I'm wrong in chat. That's fine. Anyway, moving on. Starting here with Anderson. Not a ton of interest in Anderson. Personally, like I don't think this is the greatest spot for him in general, and like he's not a awesome pitcher anyway. Like he's sitting around 18.5% strikeout rate. Like, yeah, I mean, he's not very good. He's not very good. Atlanta has some upside in this matchup for sure. So Fuentes, like I was looking up his prospects earlier, and I mean there is some stuff that like suggests that he has a little bit of upside. Like he has a decent fastball. His control is good. His splitter is decent. He could top out around 95, 96, 97. And like it's something about like his arm slot for his like slider and splitter that makes him like that's his like upside point. For what it's worth. And I will say like in his first couple starts, we really haven't seen any upside from him so far. I was looking up his minor league numbers really quick because I forgot to do that before the show. And this year in the minors, he did have plenty of strikeouts stuff. This was interesting. Like his 29% K rate, but his swinging strike rate is way down through his first 2 starts. It was against the Mets, so they're a low strikeout team, but like his debut was against the Marlins, and you'd think like he'd have a little bit more success against the Marlins. He's really cheap. He's 5,700. The Angels still one of the highest strikeout teams in baseball against right-handed pitching. They also hit a ton of home runs off of righties. So this could be a really good like boom bust spot. I mean, they have the second highest strikeout rate in baseball against right-handed pitching this season, but they also have the most home runs against right-handed pitching this season. So could be one of those like large field like tournament plays, hoping that like maybe he finds that arm slot. He's gotten shelled. I mean, through 2 starts. Again, one of them was the Mets, but one was the Marlins, and you'd expect better from him. So you like the strikeout matchup. You hate the home run upside, especially in Atlanta, especially when it's hot. So, yeah, I mean, large field tournaments only. Bats in this one. Taylor Ward, Joe Adell, Mike Trout. If Neto is back in there, that's kind of the guys I'd be looking at here. Travis d'Arnaud going back to Atlanta. I assume he draws the start here at either DH or catching. Hoppy catching or DHing. So the power, target the power here. I think that the Angels if he's not pitching well, like they have a bunch of upside. I almost said the other word. Bunch of upside. Anderson, like he's been okay against righties this season. He's really struggled with lefties. So like Matt Olson, who's really good lefty, sure. Sean Murphy, really good against lefties. I like that. Austin Riley's numbers have been down against lefties this year. Ozuna has been down against lefties this year. Acuna, obviously a great play. I like the stack on both sides of this game. I could see like both of these teams hitting a lot of home runs, scoring a lot of runs. So I like both sides. I like both stacks here. I think that this is a very playable game for bats. Just in general. I mean, I think this is one of those games you kind of target power, whether you're not you're stacking, like you're just looking for overall power in this game. Cleveland at Chicago, no total in this game night before at Wrigley, which is very normal not to have a total out. Just kind of giving it first look glance here. Very minimal wind, so it shouldn't, probably 8.5 total in this game if I had to guess. Williams and Boyd facing off against each other in this one. Let's talk about Williams first. Gavin Williams, like he's kind of at that like average strikeout rate, 23%. His walk rate has been his downfall this year. He just walks a lot of hitters, and it really hasn't gotten any better throughout the year. Like I think he has multiple walks in all but like 2 starts this year. So that's like his biggest downfall because like you start walking good hitters and like they're going to make you pay. The Cubs have a lot of upside against right-handed pitching. Top half of this lineup, very good against right-handed pitching this season. So another one of these pitchers that's kind of like fringy for me. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I think he's okay, but not my favorite. If the wind is not a factor and it's not like super hot here, maybe. But kind of like the other side of this game a little bit more. Boyd, I think Boyd is a really good tournament play today. I like left-handed pitching against Cleveland. I've said this all year. Like I think David Fry is really solid, even though his numbers are down this year. But realistically, the guys that they normally hit against left-handed pitching, like this normal lineup, there's not one hitter with an ISO over 170 against left-handed pitching this season. So bottom half of the lineup, a lot of strikeouts too, with like Hedges and Martinez and those guys. So I think this is a spot Boyd could have a really solid game. The biggest thing with Boyd right now, I don't know if you've been like following him, but like his strikeout stuff is just kind of dipped down here recently. And like you expect some more strikeouts in some of the matchups he's had, but he's been pitching really well. They haven't been letting him go too deep into games, which is always a little bit of a concern. I like this. I think this is a spot you want to target Boyd. I think this is a low or like higher floor spot. That's what I was trying to say. I said it backwards again. That's what happens when you don't do a podcast for a week, I guess. As far as the bats for Cleveland, I just kind of said it, right? Like, I mean, you could take shots on like Ramirez, Fry, and I guess that's it. Like, I like Fry. I think Fry is way better than his numbers, and he's catcher eligible on DraftKings at 2.7K. But he's really had a rough year. He just has not gotten anything going. So I probably go elsewhere. And then as far as the Cubs bats, I like if the weather or if the wind is not like a huge issue. I mean, I'll stack the Cubs against anybody. I think they have tremendous upside on every slate. Tucker, Suzuki, PCA, Happ, Nico. Yeah, I mean, just in general, I think the Cubs are stackable every day. Baltimore at Texas, Young and DeGrom, 7 total here. Rangers a 180 favorite. It's like pitching in high school for Jake. Like when we played against each other, it's Young against DeGrom. I will say, I never faced DeGrom. He played shortstop, and I remember playing a lot of basketball against him in high school. As far as Brandon Young goes, like he really hasn't shown us anything to like get excited about. I think is the best way to put it. So I'm not really like excited about this matchup. His walk rate is almost as high as strikeout rate. His WOBA is really high. His ISO is really high. Texas is very capable of putting up a lot of runs. It hurts this lineup that Langford is out, for what it's worth. That's a huge downgrade to this lineup. Langford's just been awesome. Carter's kind of banged up right now too, so watch the news on him, whether or not he plays or not. They did say, I think they said Wednesday, so he might be out for this game still, which it could lead to some cheaper bats in the lineup, making it maybe more of a mini stack than a full stack. Obviously, a lot of interest in Seager. If they hit Haggerty leadoff, he's like 4.2K. I don't mind taking some shots on there. The second baseman they just called up, Foscue, he's 2.2K. And I think if I remember correctly, he hit fifth or sixth on Monday. From when I was looking at it. So, I guess I kind of skipped over DeGrom. Let's go back to pitchers. That's my thoughts on the Texas bats, though. There you go. Let's talk Jacob DeGrom. Nothing close to elite Jacob DeGrom, like numbers wise, but we're seeing dominant DeGrom. We're just not seeing like 10 strikeout DeGrom. He's pitching really well. They really have kind of limited his pitches here down the stretch. They've kind of just said, hey, 6 or 7 clean innings and we'll go to the bullpen for him. So, which is, I mean, Texas, they have a very good bullpen. So that doesn't shock me too much. If DeGrom can get 6 or 7 clean innings and you can kind of limit his pitches and his innings, do it. But Jake, I mean, he still has a 20.4% strikeout to walk ratio, which is really good. His ISO has been great. His WOBA has been great. This is a high strikeout matchup. Baltimore strikes out a lot against right-handed pitching. So I think this is a spot DeGrom could maybe give up a run or two and strike out 7 or 8 hitters. So I like Jacob. I think this is a good spot for him. As far as the Baltimore bats, if you want to be contrarian, it'd be like Henderson, Holiday type of 3-mans and throwing in like I don't know, the third piece, like with Rutschman out, O'Neill's still out, Westberg is banged up again. Like that's one of the reasons that I have interest in DeGrom. I mean, this is just, it seems like a really good spot matchup wise for him. So not a ton of interest in the Baltimore bats. Moving on, we got Houston in Coors, Colorado, heading into the Rockies. This game is currently at 11.5. The Astros a 176 favorite. Gordon and Dollander facing off against each other in this one. Always starting with the visiting pitcher, Colton Gordon. So my problem with Gordon is he struggles with right-handed hitters, and like this lineup is like that team you don't want to necessarily struggle with righties because they can get very right-handed heavy against left-handed pitching. So I don't really like Gordon in this spot. I don't like pitchers in Coors regardless. If Goodman's out still, that's a little bit of a bump here. They did say like he is expected to go on the IL with the hamstring. So that kind of stinks for this lineup because he has been really good against left-handed pitching. But like the guy that's behind him, Fulford, is decent. So I think I don't want to get ahead talking about the bats, but I don't think I want to play Gordon in this spot. Dollander on the other side, I mean, talented young pitcher. He really is. I know like it really hasn't shown a lot this year. He is a talented young pitcher. Pitching in Coors, pitching on this team is not great. So looking at Dollander, I don't think this is the spot. He gives up a lot of power to right-handed hitters, and that's like the opposite of what you want to do against Houston. They have a lot of right-handed power bats in this lineup. It is the first game in Coors. We talk about this sometimes, where it takes a day or two to adapt to how the baseball looks, because it is different. I just don't think I want to play either one of these pitchers. As far as the Astros bats, so with Pena out now, Alvarez still, I was reading really quick to see when he would be back, but like the Astros, outside of like Altuve and Paredes, are pretty cheap for a Coors matchup against Dollander, who struggles with right-handed power. So I want to play Paredes. I think he's one of the top hitters on the slate. Christian Walker is going to be a staple for me today at 4.1K. Righty, fine with me. Just too cheap for the matchup in Coors. But like realistically, like Cam Smith is playable. If Myers continues to hit up towards the top of the lineup, he's playable. I know I'm forgetting some people. I know I'm like missing people, but like with them having some injured players, it makes it tougher. And then the Rockies, I mean, Beck, I think is a top hitter on the slate at 4.5K. This is a really good spot for him. Like I said, the catcher, Fulford, small sample size, but 3.8K. He looks to have a little bit of power, so don't mind that. Don't mind like Brenton Doyle. This game has 11.5 total. Neither one of these pitchers are awesome. So I think this is a spot you're looking at some bats. And the Rockies just continue to be really cheap because they're not great, but they're in Coors. They're not facing a terribly tough matchup. So I'll look to some bats here for the Rockies. San Francisco at Arizona, 9.5 total in this game. The Diamondbacks, a 137 favorite. We got Birdsong against Zach Gallen in this one. Going to Birdsong first. His strikeout rate continues to dip down. He's really struggled with left-handed hitters this season, which is going to be a factor for him here. Perdomo, Marte, Smith, McCarthy, Thomas, the catcher Herrera, right? Switch hitter. So I think there's enough lefties in this lineup for me not to like Birdsong. I like Birdsong against like really right-handed heavy offenses because that's where his upside lies, is facing right-handed heavy offenses. So I think I'm out on Birdsong today. Zach Gallen just has not been anywhere near what we saw from him last year. His strikeout rate is way down. His power is way up. His swinging strike rate is down. His barrel rate is way up. So a lot of these games from time to time where he has like really decent games, but with the addition of like Devers in this lineup, I think this is a really tough matchup for him. Even for some reason though, like despite everything that San Francisco has done, they still, I guess it's because Chapman's out and Schmidt's banged up, but like I feel like Dominant Smith should not hit fourth for any team in majors. But I guess it's more of like Chapman being out and stuff. As far as the bats against Gallen, I want left-handed power, so I like Devers a lot. Jung Ho Lee is okay. What's the guy? The outfielder. Daniel Johnson. He's still really cheap. I don't mind potentially taking some shots on him just being so cheap. Derek in chat saying Nelson mowing down San Francisco. That doesn't really shock me. Ryan Nelson, not awful. He's gotten very lucky on some of his things. So I don't ever hate playing like Ramos either, even though I prefer lefties against Gallen. Zach Gallen still gives it power to righties. Derek says that Johnson's hit 2 hard ones tonight. There you go. Arizona bats in this matchup. Obviously, Carroll being on the IL hurts this lineup in general. Naylor banged up. Like I feel like Josh Naylor's been banged up a lot with this like neck injury. So there's a good chance that like he sits again. But I still think like if Naylor plays and I'm still a little concerned about him like getting pinch hit for or like leaving the game. Perdomo, Marte, Smith would be my 3 favorite bats here from this lineup. This game being in Arizona, I think that there is upside. I think there's some cheaper price guys that you could potentially play here with Marte. But I think Marte is in a good spot overall, so I don't necessarily want to get away from him too much here. Kansas City at Seattle, 8.5 total in this game. The Mariners a 137 favorite. We got Lorenzen and Hancock facing off against each other. In this one, Michael Lorenzen, he's giving up so much power this year. Like last year, he was able to like limit the WOBA, limit the power. It's not been the same this year. Like he'll have like one good game a month. And it's obviously a new month, so got to throw that out there. But below average strikeout pitcher, 216 ISO, 350 WOBA, a lot of hard hits, swinging strike rate, whiff rate down. Like just think this is a spot we stay away from Lorenzen. I think that the Mariners are interesting, and we'll talk about them in just a second. Hancock's another guy that I don't like playing. I mean, he really struggles with left-handed hitters. The thing is, like, they don't have a ton of lefties in this lineup that are awesome. They have a lot of lefties. They just don't have a lot of lefties that are awesome. Problem with his numbers against righties, he has like a 14% K rate against righties. Does a good job of limiting power and generating ground balls, but like he'll have a decent game from time to time. But the walks, the power, just not my favorite. I like some bats here. I think this is one of those spots we could potentially get some lower owned bats. And the one thing that I like about the Kansas City bats in this spot is they're really cheap. Like Jock is 3K, Pasquantino is 4,100. So you can play Bobby Witt with these cheap guys. Like Rave is 2.2K, Isabel's 2.5K. So I like the idea of like getting Witt, Pasquantino, and just taking a shot on like one of these like cheaper bats. I prefer Jock because I know this young kid has a ton of power, and he's gonna get a bump here facing a pitcher that really just doesn't strike out lefties. So I like the 3-man for Kansas City. And I don't mind, like I said, Lorenz is giving up a ton of power. The total in this game at 8.5 seems kind of low for what these two pitchers pitching, but the ballpark's not the best, but the line just seems kind of low. Do we fire up a morning grind bet here? I think I'm going to go over. It's almost at plus money. I'm going to fire up a morning grind bet here and take the over 8.5 in this Royals-Mariners game. See how that works out for us. As far as the Mariners go, Cal Riley, obviously, incredible play. I like Randy Arozarena, Ken Zone, Julio Rodriguez. All these guys are in play for me. Arozarena, I know that I think he had 2 home runs. He's starting to get hot. When this guy gets going and he gets hot, like sky's the limit for this guy when he's hot. Very good hitter. Hope Polanco's back in the lineup. I didn't read it. I know it was like knee soreness, and there was a potential that he plays, but I hope he's back in the lineup here too. Helps the lineup overall. But I'm going to keep playing Canzone. I think that he's still too cheap, and Cal Riley is in that price range now where it's like, wow, but like the dude has 32 home runs. He just keeps crushing the baseball every single day. With that said, like he's now in that price range of like Ohtani, and Ohtani has one of the best matchups on the slate. So we're going to talk about that right now. White Sox, Dodgers, 8.5 total. Dodgers a 330 favorite. Just crazy. And like Shane Smith going up against Yamamoto in this one, like you can't really argue the line. Like Shane Smith, he's done a decent job of like limiting power this season. He has a 108 ISO. Below average strikeout pitcher, struggles with walks, still struggling with like hard contact. Some of his advanced stats suggest like he's getting a little lucky. That's definitely come out a lot lately. 10 earned runs over his last 2 starts. Just doesn't really have like the strikeout upside to kind of bounce back from giving up some runs. So I'm out on him in this matchup against the Dodgers. there's better options. And then Yamamoto on the other side here. I think he's probably going to be one of their highest owned pitchers on the slate, and I really can't argue it. I mean, like, I don't think the White Sox are awful. They're not great. They're not awful, but they're not great. Yeah, I think you just kind of. I think that there's plenty of cheap bats that we talked about, or I talked about here on the slate. Like, I like Yamamoto, I like DeGrom, I like Boyd, I like Clay Holmes, and then after that, it kind of gets iffy on pitching. So, like, those are the kind of the four guys I'm going to build around pitching wise today. So there you go. I don't think it will be too hard to get like Boyd, Yamamoto with all the cheap bats. There's a lot of cheap bats. As far as White Sox, not a ton of interest in the bats here. Benintendi, maybe. I do think Kyle Teel is a good hitter, but I think there's going to be better spots to play Kyle Teel. I don't think this is one of them. Looks like he's starting to get going, which is good. I want to see Kyle Teel succeed. Was a Red Sox big Red Sox prospect. He was part of the Crochet deal. I think we won that trade for what it's worth. As much as I like Kyle Teel, I think Crochet has a ginormous ceiling. Dodgers, I love this spot for the Dodgers. They're expensive. I don't think like you're going to be able to get Dodgers in like top end pitching because of how expensive they are. Maybe we'll get some cheaper bats in the lineup today, like a Conforto. Maybe rushing plays at 3.2K. Edman. Mookie Betts' price is way too low. I know like he hasn't had a lot of ceiling lately, but like 4.5 for Mookie is a really good price tag. So take advantage of that. Maybe it's not as hard to get the Dodgers in. I didn't realize that. Like I'm so used to the Dodgers being so expensive. So, yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are a stack I definitely want to get some exposure to on this slate. It's been fun being back. My voice, you can hear me. It's normal. It doesn't hurt to talk. That was the biggest thing. Like, I could talk, but, like, it got to the point where it was, like, really starting to, like, get super sore. And I was like, I need a break. I need to take some days off of, like, talking for an hour at a time. All right, morning grind game under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. This one's tough today because like the answer in my head is like nobody for what it's worth. I don't really like any of these guys to get there. Like if I had to pick somebody for just like strikeouts, I think it'd be Gordon. But I wouldn't play him in DFS. So, yeah, I don't really like anybody under 8K to get 6 strikeouts. But if I, for the sake of the game, I'd pick Gordon. Over 8K to score under 15, my bust of the day. This one's pretty easy for me today. It's Gavin Williams. Just not the guy I'm going to play. Over 4K to hit a home run. I try to stay away from cores with this one. I do think there's plenty of bats to choose from. I feel like this is a little off the board, but it shouldn't be. But give me Mike Trout to hit a home run today. He's way too cheap for being Mike Trout. Under 4K to score 10 plus points. I'm going to go to that Kansas City game. I talked about Jock in that game. 3K, I like this a lot. Why do I always catch you live while I'm at the Costco food court? Listen, do yourself a favor. Get a chocolate chip cookie. Enjoy it. Get the strawberry lemonade. And enjoy the show. I love Costco. Costco, if you ever want to sponsor me, my DMs are open. I will talk about you, and I can talk about a lot of products for you. So if anybody here works for Costco, hook that sponsorship up. Man, I love the chocolate chip cookies. Oh man, I love Costco. Stack. I don't even need a sponsorship from Costco, because I'm just gonna talk. Anytime anybody brings up Costco, I'm gonna tell you how much I love Costco. So what, Johnson? Like DJ, there's a lot of good things at Costco. Let's be honest. All right, stack to score 6 or more runs. There's a lot of options today. Man, see, I mean, you could stack so many teams today. I think I don't think the Angels are going to get a ton of like love. This dude's given up 10 earned runs in his first 2 starts. Give me the Angels to score 6 or more runs today. I don't think they'll be super popular. It should be hot in Atlanta because it's hot everywhere right now. It's whether or not like it's going to be raining or not, but it should be hot and humid in Atlanta, so that's always good. So I'm going to go with the Angels. That's going to wrap it up. If you haven't already, head on over to the Morning Grind YouTube and hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be back. Turn on the notifications, but I'm going to be back going daily here during the week for the next month or so. I don't know what my schedule looks like next month, but for July, I know that I'm going to have enough time to go daily. So unless we have like a really small slate, but outside of that, I appreciate everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Back tomorrow for real. I know I said that last time, but like my voice is good. I'm good. Excited to be back breaking down some baseball. Good luck, everyone, and I will see you again tomorrow.